What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today when I talk to you about Rezolve AI, I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what is moving it today, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So Rezolve is up a very impressive 19%, 256 the low, 307 the high, and 19 million shares being traded. So definitely a lot of volume today because the market's only been open about an hour and a half. So crazy stuff is going on. Nothing really coming out from a macro standpoint though. So we did have the Chicago Fed National Activity Index coming in at negative 0.21, but still that's not really that big of a market mover. So a lot of the momentum that was starting to build on Friday is in fact rolling over into this week. Plus we did also have over the weekend and early this morning, UBS and JPM really signaling that we will be having a end of year rally, which will continue into 2026. Until possibly the S&P is at about 7,700. Considering we're at 6,800 right now, definitely shows that there is a lot more upside. So definitely that's kind of hyping up the broader market. In Rezolve's case though, there hasn't been any official news as of today. So last news did come out on December the 19th, which I did bring up in my previous video. So when this came out, I kind of talked about it, what it meant, and why it was very bullish. Aside from that though, there was a SEC document that was submitted after hours on Friday, after I did my video, which was this 6K. In this 6K kind of shows that they came to a agreement with Yorkville. So officially closing out their pre-existing financing. Of course, that does come with a cost, of course, but it looks like there's going to be a 1.9 million upfront fee, up to around 15 million in staggered payments. That's going to be through May 31st, 2026, and this is going to be backed by a 10 million promissory note. So at the end of the day, like some of you might be saying, yeah, that's significant of payments and whatever else. I can almost guarantee you, if actually like Rezolve kept this SPA, that would cause 10 times more in dilution. And essentially that also, there might be some correlation as well with why shorts started to really kind of ramp up recently. Because Yorkville, in case you don't know, they are one of the big kind of toxic lenders in the broader market. Whatever stocks that they kind of touch, ultimately they just go down because of these SPAs. One thing that I do need to take some time to research is, I believe in Rezolve's last kind of earnings, they did actually have a one-time fee to close out their SPA. So in general, I don't know if this 1.9 million is over and above that, or if this was kind of previously agreed upon, but nonetheless, I'll kind of talk about that in a following video. But in the end, this is phenomenal news for Rezolve. And this obviously is piggybacking off of that good news that they did put out on Friday about that call on January the 13th. So the investor and analyst call. And so they will be talking about 2025, 2026 revenue guidance. So definitely market is very, very hyped up. Aside from that though, there really hasn't been that much in news on a larger scope. So Trump's been relatively quiet. This week is a shorter week on a side note. So of course Thursday is closed because of Christmas. So Merry Christmas to those of you that celebrate. And then on the Wednesday, the market does close at 1. So that'll be a little bit lower volume, as well as on Friday, historically we'll see kind of low volume. So I think just today and tomorrow will be the big days for Rezolve, but based on the technicals, which I'll go over near the end of the video, things are looking pretty a-okay. Right now, shorts are returning about 9,000 shares, so nothing too significant. 15.41% of the free float is being shorted, works to be 18.31 million shares overall being shorted. So I see a lot of people online saying that shorts are kind of the reason why the Rezolve has been moving higher on Friday as well as today, that they've been returning. They haven't actually been doing that. They've been actually not really doing too much, similar to obviously this morning. Although one thing I do want to take kind of bring up though is the shares on loan has been going up significantly. So I don't know if that is correlated with Yorkville. They just wanted to do as much damage as they can before this agreement came and was officially signed. So again, Yorkville, extremely toxic, and is good for Rezolve to get them out. Even previously, when Rezolve did fireside chats and they said that they closed out their previous SPAs, like I thought that was bullish. But I guess there was maybe a counter lawsuit by Yorkville, despite that fee that they did pay. So again, it's still good for Rezolve, in my opinion. Looking at the options, 566,000 in calls, 85,000 in puts, 59% of all the options being done are bullish in nature. From a bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be above 3 and then above 350 by the end of next week. Bears are anticipating for it to be, there's not really much activity coming from the Bears, but they're anticipating for it to be kind of sub 250. So a little bit more back and forth, but based on this, you are seeing a little bit more transactions on the dark pool. I'm sure some of this is linked to shorts, because when it comes down to it, shorts are, like I said, returning about 9,000 shares. That is net. So of course they trade back and forth and so forth. And so these are all the transactions occurring on the dark pool. These are all the transactions occurring on the secondary market. So only 2 transactions right now, 1 buy and 1 sell. And of course, as per usual, most of the volume is linked today through algorithmic trading. So AI obviously is a big deal in the broader market, as I've openly kind of mentioned. And that was also the main reason why it kind of pushed Rezolve higher, because it feeds off of good news. And in my opinion, Rezolve, the news that came out Friday as well as today, over the weekend, or I guess after hours Friday, is very positive for Rezolve. So that's why AI is really starting to push it higher. But I think, again, I know I've mentioned this in a couple videos ago, is that a lot of people scream manipulation when things don't go according to plan. But this is simply what happens when you have algorithmic trading making up for the majority of your volume. So AI can just easily turn on and off, and it goes how the market is. This is why you see some crazy swings. So in my opinion, AI is the reason why it's starting to move higher, but nonetheless, it is currently pushing it above that 10-day moving average, and that generally is a very big deal for momentum plays. Right now, you do have that 200-day moving average, so that'll be the next target. That is currently sitting at 312. Could be on the table for today. Most likely it could touch that, but probably just reject and kind of consolidate right below that. So that'll be a big deal for tomorrow for it to ideally get above. There was also some stuff that came out over the weekend that was posted, and that was new ratings. H.C. Wainwright maintained their $10 price target, Maxim 15, and so Maxim right now is the all-time high, or the highest rating for Rezolve at $15. Northland did also give a rating on December the 17th, and they maintained their 7. So for those of you that kind of remember that, Maxim and Northland, Rezolve recently did participate in their fireside chats. So that's one thing where most of these firms are linked to Rezolve through, is Rezolve just doing their kind of fireside chats. So aside from all of that though, if you're wanting to dollar cost average or swing trade, just kind of watch for these. So right now with it at 306, it is trading between this pivot and this S1. So 271 and then 337 is going to be the next strong support as well as target. So all in all, I think Rezolve is making some pretty good progress. But institutions, as you can kind of tell from just the lack of institutional transactions, are still hesitant. So with their upcoming earnings on January the 13th, hopefully that'll be enough, and they portray it in a way which will kind of incentivize some more institutional transactions. So let me know your thoughts on Rezolve. Are you buying? Are you selling? What's your kind of general viewpoint on everything that has been happening with Rezolve? Good, bad, and the ugly. This stock has been absolutely crazy in all directions, but I think it's starting to be ready to kind of move higher. So let me know your viewpoint on that. One final thing, pop over to my Discord. It is completely free. A lot of good people talking about stocks, options, crypto, everything that you ever need in life. Link to that is in the description below. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.